What's up, guys, and welcome to our 10th installment of the rookie miniseries. Today we're talking about Ke'Shawn Vaughn, the newest running back of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Throughout college, he played 4 years. He ended up going to Illinois first 2 years, and then he transferred over to Vanderbilt. So throughout the 4 years, he put together 572 attempts total. His highest being his senior year at 198 attempts, and then he had a couple of 157 attempt seasons his freshman year at Illinois, and then his junior year at Vanderbilt. 3,296 total yards, his highest being his junior year, 1,244 yards, and then that same year he had his highest touchdown season at 12 touchdowns, totaling 30 touchdowns in rushing, and then adding another 3 in the air. So a decent receiver out of the backfield. His senior year, he had 28 catches. That was the most that he had. So hitting double-digit touchdowns because he had 9 rushing touchdowns and a receiving touchdown in his senior year. So back-to-back years with double-digit touchdowns total. Jordan, why don't you take it away?
Yeah, so I think his landing spot with the Buccaneers is, really ideal for him. And it's kind of, I guess funny/ironic from a fantasy perspective. I think everybody was really excited to see what running back went to the Buccaneers. Like, oh man, they're going to get Jonathan Taylor, J.K. Dobbins, Allaire, you name it. And then we get stuck with Ke'Shawn Vaughn. So it's once again just one of those landing spots where a lot of people weren't talking about Ke'Shawn Vaughn pre-draft. And he ends up in the most ideal landing spot probably of any of the running backs. And he raised his stock more than anyone else. So I've been seeing him go really in the late first round, early second, and I think that's a good spot for him. One of my biggest concerns is he's going to be a better real-life player than a fantasy asset. If you look at his scouting report, he's a really good pass blocker, and I think that's why they took him. So I expect him to have a role immediately on third downs. Ronald Jones has been really underwhelming, but I think in the beginning of the season he's still going to keep that first and second down role. And if he continues to underwhelm, I think Ke'Shawn Vaughn long-term could take over that backfield. But I think he's being hyped up a little more. I've seen him go in the top 5 in a few rookie mock drafts, and I think that's complete insanity just based on the talent at the top of this rookie class. But I think it's a really ideal landing spot. I think long-term I could see him being kind of like a James White kind of player, just a really good role player. In PPR leagues, maybe a back-end running back 2 flex play. I think that's his long-term value, and if you're getting a guy like that at the back end of the first round or early second in rookie dynasty drafts, I think that's good value for him.
And I'm glad you said James White because that was going to be my comparison. He's the same height as James White is, and he's about 10 pounds heavier than James White. And who's the quarterback now for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, at least for 2 years? That's Tom Brady. So if you could get James White production out of him, that's a solid flex play pretty much every week. The landing spot is ideal for, like you already said it, for any running back that went there. Ke'Shawn Vaughn just adds another name to the list of running backs that was already pretty heavy in this draft class. So instead of them taking like a J.K. Dobbins or a DeAndre Swift or somebody like that, you get another name to add to your rookie list there, a Ke'Shawn Vaughn that really nobody was really talking about before the draft, and now it's a situation where he could be relevant as early as this year. Bruce Arians, he is the kind of coach that he wants to try to find that one guy. We saw it with David Johnson. He hasn't been able to do it yet. Ronald Jones he's been a little bit of a disappointment, but we'll see. I'm sure they're all going to get an equal opportunity this year, and then see who's the best guy if there is a mini camp coming out of camp. But if Ke'Shawn Vaughn is the guy that's behind Tom Brady for week 1, or if he works his way into the starting lineup and starting to see a lot more snaps than Ronald Jones, then he's definitely a guy that I would try to target for long term. And then by the time Tom Brady's gone, he should have a legitimate role there for his for his next couple of years after Tom Brady leaves, and in that Tampa offense with Chris Godwin being the leading receiver there, and we all wanted a running back to go to Tampa Bay, and they ended up getting one. So now it's up to us as fantasy players to get him into our lineups, and I wouldn't take him as early as what you said at the 5th pick, or I know you're not taking him there, but I'm definitely not touching him there. I'm probably looking at end of the first, early to mid second, if I can. If I have one of those sixth or seventh overall picks, try to get him in the mid second if I can.